Hi, everybody. Mitch Tanenbaum here. Thanks for joining me today. This is the security news update for the week ending January 28th, 2024. On the alerts department, some Pixel users are reporting that their phones are unusable after January update. They can't access the internal storage, open camera, other apps. Google is apparently aware of the problem, doesn't have a fix. The problem does apparently affect multiple Pixel models, but not all phones, because I know my Pixel updated in January and it still works. So the only solution that exists at this point is to do a factory reset, which will wipe out any data you might have. So make sure you do backups, as I like to say, backup early, backup often. In the reference department, Apple plans to comply with the Digital Markets app, which requires in the EU only Apple to allow alternate app stores. They're doing that, but they're not making it easy. They're not making it cheap. They've developed some new APIs, as I like to refer to them as new security holes, to support that. They also say that their proposal to reduce their App Store fee from 30% to 27%, plus the cost of your own credit card processor, which basically brings it right back up to 30%. That's Digital Markets Act compliant. We shall see whether the EU agrees with them, but Apple is sort of trying, kicking and screaming, because obviously they don't want to affect their revenue stream, and you can't blame them for that, to comply with the Digital Markets Act, but they're not going to go quietly. Speaking of Apple, they're warning of more 0 days in WebKit. By the way, one of the things that will happen in the Digital Markets app version of the Apple products is that you will be able to use internet libraries other than WebKit. That only applies in the EU. You won't be able to do that in the United States, for example. But at least that's a start in terms of allowing people to use other internet interfaces, because the challenge with WebKit is that when it breaks, you now have affected every single app on every iPhone and Mac on the planet, because that's the only option you have for talking to the internet. And Apple does say that they have some reports of it being exploited in the wild. Next, and this is not new for Atlassian, announced a new bug, which they rate as a 10 on a 10 scale. 40,000 attack attempts they detected in 3 days. So if you're using Atlassian products and you have one of the affected ones, make sure that you patch it. And obviously 40,000 attempts in 3 days is not a big number in today's world. What it means is that you need to be very vigilant in terms of getting patches deployed and getting patches deployed quickly. Under the legal department, a Texas man sued Sunglass Hut and Macy's, claiming they misidentified him from a store surveillance camera. And I'm not sure that I understand all the details here because they weren't in the article, but Sunglass Hut said that somebody was shoplifting sunglasses from them. They shared the surveillance video with Macy's. That's the part I don't understand why they did that, other than they said that Macy's is a partner. Macy's identified this person. When he came back to Texas, he was in California, living in California at the time. When he came back to Texas, he tried to update his driver's license and was arrested, thrown into jail, and raped, which unfortunately is not that common, not that uncommon in prison. So he's now suing Sunglass Hut Macy's. The cops, after some number of days, figured out that they had the wrong guy and let him go, but the damage was done, and apparently whatever happened to him in prison, he claims is causing lifelong injuries, which you can kind of connect the dots there and figure out what's going on. Why Macy's was helping Sunglass Hut, I don't know, but both of them now on the wrong side of a lawsuit, And assuming everything that we've heard is true, I'm guessing that the two of these guys are going to be very quickly and very quietly trying to settle this thing out of court, because this is the last thing they want. In the education department, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, whether you like them or hate them, does some good stuff from time to time. This time they have published an information hub documenting more than a dozen types of surveillance technology used by law enforcement. That's kind of cool. It shows pictures and all kinds of things. So, if you're kind of a geek in that department, check out the newsletter for the link. In the breaches department, follow up to last week's comment about Loan Depot. Now, Loan Depot said originally, well, it wasn't a big deal. And then it said it was 7 million people. And then it said it was 14 million people. And they said virtually all of their customers. Well, Loan Depot is just starting out big, go big or go home. So they're saying 16 million people are affected by their breach. More importantly, they are telling the truth about one thing, which is they're pretty clueless about how much this is going to cost them. The people go off and say, "Oh yeah, no material financial impact." That's BS, because at that point in time, you have no clue whether there's any material impact. Next, in the breaches department, crypto continues to be a dumpster fire because move fast, break things, lose other people's money, rinse and repeat. That's kind of the motto of crypto. In this case, it's Terraform Labs. They're the company behind the Terra blockchain. They filed for bankruptcy in 2022. Yeah, after the Terra stablecoin, which is supposedly pegged at $1, became very unstable. Its CEO has been arrested and remains in jail as multiple countries fight over who lost more money. They all want to get a piece of his rear end. And then Concentric Finance, another crypto company. In this case, they're a yield aggregator. So you got this whole ecosystem of crypto. It's not just wallets and software and exchanges and stuff. They lost almost $2 million of OPM, other people's money, after an employee fell for a phishing attack. And this is going to continue as long as the hackers continue to make money. Next, researchers discovered what they are calling the mother of all breaches, or MOAB. 26 billion records. These are not new breaches. These are old existing breaches, but they put it all together in one place and they indexed it, which is very convenient for the bad guys. Pretty good stuff. So, if you were one of the breach victims of one of these many, many breaches, now the bad guys have an easy way to go off and use the compromised data to attack you. UK's water and wastewater giant Southern Water admits it was hacked. That's really not news anymore, unfortunately. They did steal identity documents like passports and driver's license, other personal information. They serve about 6 million customers, so they're fairly decent. And Southern seems to be in the denial mode, which is certainly one method that some companies have for dealing with these attacks. They said a limited amount of data has been published, but they're not going to publish it. You're going to sell it. However, there's no evidence that our customers' relationships or financial systems have been affected. Not yet, but it just happened. I think part of that means that this was not a ransomware attack. But the hackers say they stole 750 gigabytes worth of data, and they're going to publish it in about a week. By the time you read this, it may already be published. So, assuming Southern didn't pay them. Next, the Supreme Court is getting into the AI fight. I knew this was going to happen, but I just didn't think it was going to happen quite this fast. It is. They're involved in a different case, and they're basically saying that this is going to be a problem, and and we're sort of getting ready for it because we know it's going to be a problem. And even these justices said, we're not the right people to go off and deal with these sticky technical conversations, but they're going to wind up having to do that. And if they get drug into the AI fight, and I think it's not an if, it's a when, then it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Next, Apple has released a new feature to foil crooks. This one is a win for Apple users. There's no downside to it. So, just go do it because it's a good thing. You'll need to upgrade your iPhone. I think it's 17.3 is the first version that it works in. But it's a great feature. So do that for sure. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't have the name of the feature, but look for stolen phone features and you'll find it, or read the blog. It's in the blog. Also, companies like 23andMe don't seem to be detecting hackers for months. Why is that? Well, they're looking at the wrong stuff. Clearly, they may not be logging the right stuff at all. They may not be alerting on the right stuff at all. They may not care until, of course, they get sued, which they're dealing with a lot of that. It's definitely cheaper to go figure it out beforehand. And, if you're not comfortable that you're logging the right data and alerting on the right data, probably now would be a good time to come talk to us. And last is the security news bites for the week. Apparently even God is into crypto. I'll let you read the blog to see what that means, but pretty lame. No, God is not actually into crypto, but people are claiming he is. The feds have ordered Intuit to stop pushing their free software since it's not actually free. I think that's a good thing for consumers. Glad they did that. AI hallucinations have consequences, which include large dollar value lawsuits. So we'll see what happens in this case. It's in court right now. The NSA is finally admitting that it buys data on U.S. persons from data brokers. Everybody suspected that, but they had never admitted it before. And lastly, as I said earlier, Apple lets developers use alternate in-app payments, but still takes basically the same commission. So why bother at that point? Until next time, if you have questions, please reach out to us. Otherwise, stay safe. Thanks for listening.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized businesses. They include everything needed to secure your business and meet compliance requirements. Visit our website at turnkeycybersecurityandprivacysolutions.com to learn more.